A pleasant morning to each and everyone. I'm Shana Morzescanio from a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, a third year student, and in a major of Business Analytics. So our agenda for today is to discuss and of course to deeply understand what is leadership. So leadership has long intrigued humankind and has been the topic of extensive literature for countries. The earliest writings include philosophies of leadership such as Machiavelli's The Prince and biographies of our great leaders. With the development of the social sciences during the 20th century, inquiry into leadership became prolific. Studies on leadership have emerged from every discipline that has had some interest in the subject of leadership. Anthropology, business administration, educational administration, history, military sciences, nursing administration, organizational behavior, philosophy, political science, public administration, psychology, sociology, and theology. And we are all aware that leadership is the action, it is the actions of leading a group of people or an organizations. But here's the thing, here's the thing, that a lot of people don't understand or of course, let's say, refuse to believe that everyone can be a leader. Na lahat tayo is may kakayahan maging leader or mamuno in an organizations, let's say organizations, or you're even an CEO or the manager of the company. But there is no single answer to what is leadership because it isn't something you either born with or without, but a powerful skill that can be developed over time. Great leaders don't follow a single path or personality type. In fact, you probably taken on leadership roles in your life that you didn't realize at the time. So, what makes a good leader? And how can you sharpen skills and put them to work for you in your career and your life? Because for me as a youth, a leadership is ability to inspire a team or to achieve a certain goal. It is usually discussed or shared in the context of business in or in organizations. But leadership is also how you as an individual choose to lead your life. The definitions of leadership for me is to influence, to inspire, and to help others become their best selves, building their confidence, building their skills, and achieving goals along the way. Because you don't have to be the CEO, hindi mo kailangang maging CEO, maging business manager, or even ikaw na mag-lead on a team or a group or in an organizations. You're even a team to lead to be a leader. Hindi mo kailangan because leadership is a set of skills and a certain psychology that anyone can master. Leadership is a trait. A trait is a distinguishing quality of an individual which is often inherited. Defining leadership as a trait means that each individual brings to the table certain qualities that influence the way he or she leads. So, here in a leadership is a trait is, yung trait kasi na sinatawag natin is more likely as a trademark. Na, a trademark is, it is a characteristic of a person's that is frequently preserved. Na since leadership is, sinasabi nga natin na, dinedefine natin yun as a trait, each person can bring unique qualities to the table that have an impact on how they lead. Next is leadership is an ability. Well, a person who has a leadership ability is able to be a leader. That is, has the capacity to lead. Well, the term abilities frequently refers to a natural capacity. Ability can be acquired. In here, in a leadership, is an ability. Is yung tinatawag kasi natin or yung term na ginagamit nating ability is typically signifies as a natural talent. So, we have that natural talent na maging leader. And yung mga qualities naman kasi is naaaral naman natin yan. Yung mga qualities of a leaders is napag-aaralan naman siya. An individual who uses a leadership naman, yung ginagamit nila yung mga leadership potential is they are capable of leading. And of course, um, they have the capacity to do so. So next is leadership is a skill. Conceptualized as a skill, leadership is a competency developed to accomplish a task effectively. Skilled leaders are competent people who know the means and methods for carrying out their responsibilities. So in here, sabi dito is, yung leadership daw is kino-considered nila as a skill. Kasi you as a competent individuals na aware ka doon sa means na and sa mga procedures for carrying out your duties, and of course to complete your task is you are skilled leaders ka. Kumbaga, lahat ng mga appearance, lahat ng ability ng leaders is nasa'yo. So, doon nila kino-considered na yung leadership is a skill, is considered as a skill.
Leadership is a behavior. It is what leaders do when they are in a leadership role. The behavioral dimension is concerned with how leaders act toward others in various situations. Unlike traits, abilities, and skills, leadership behaviors are observable. When someone leads, we see that person's leadership behavior. Leader behavior is the traits and characteristics that make some effective as a leader. Leaders utilize their behavior to help them guide, direct, and influence the work of their team. There are many innate characteristics that enhance leadership behavior. However, there are strategies and actions that leaders can work to develop in order to improve their behavior and be more effective. Organizations thrive on leaders who use their behavior to share a vision, encourage teams, and ensure everyone is as effective as possible. Leadership is a relationship. From this perfect perspective, leadership is centered on the communication between leaders and the followers rather than on the unique qualities of the leader. Leadership is not a relationship but an act of influence, an impact like a sail. People need to know that they can count on leaders, that the leader will walk the walk and talk the talk. Leaders need to follow through on promises and follow up on commitments. There are needs to be a sense, predictability, and fairness in the way a leader approaches situations and people every single day. Leadership is an influence process. Leadership is a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. Leadership is influence has the same form as Snow White. When we say that snow is white, however, we aren't committed to the absurd idea that all white things are snow. There are lots of white things that aren't snow. Golf balls, white swans, white cars, and etc.
Good day. To continue our report, my name is Samantha Faye A. Mangusin. So, leadership and change. A leader needs to be fully aware of the followers and the followers' interests, ideas, positions, attitudes, and motivations. So, thinking of leadership as a relationship suggests that leaders must include followers and their interests in the process of leadership. So this approach, leadership and change, has an ethical overlap because it stresses the needs for leaders to work with followers to achieve their mutual purposes. So, sabi nga ni Rose, or according to Rose in 1991, it also increases the possibility that leaders and followers will work together toward a common goods. So, basically, it is possible that leaders might um, act toward followers in way that are forced or unethical. Next is the emerging leadership approaches. So, a diverse range of approaches to leadership in emerging during the 21st century. First is the adaptive leadership. Adaptive leadership examines how leaders help people address problems, face challenges, and adapt to change. Next is the authentic leadership. Authentic leadership is an approach that looks at the authenticity of leaders and their leadership and is currently enjoying their strong interest. Next, here is the spiritual leadership. Spiritual leadership considers how leaders use values, a sense of calling, and membership to motivate followers. Next is the servant leadership. Servant leadership emphasizes the carrying principle with leader as servants who focus their followers' needs in order to help these followers to become more autonomous, knowledgeable, and like servants themselves. Lastly is the gender-based studies. So gender-based studies which have gained much momentum as women continue to become more dominant in a workforce, especially on a global level, view how one's gender affects and differentiate one's relationship. Next here is the leadership development. So in this leadership development, defining leadership as an influence process means that it is not a trait or an ability that resides in the lead an ability that resides in the leader, but rather an interactive event that occurs between the leader and the followers. So in short, influence is a central to the process of leadership because leadership affect followers and the leaders direct their energies toward influencing individuals to achieve something together. So, as we explaining what is leadership is, it is important to make um, the leadership distinct between leadership and management. Because in discussing this leadership, the concept of leadership and management sometimes overlap. Why? Because both leadership and management involve influence. But leadership is about seeking constructive change, and management is about establishing order.
So, global leadership attributes. Globe studies was the identification of positive and negative leadership characteristics that are universally accepted worldwide. So, first, what is meant by global leadership? So, global leadership is the process of actions through which an individual influences a range of internal and external constituents from multiple national cultures and jurisdictions in a context characterized by significant levels of task and relationship complexity. So for me, the true definition of a good global leader includes the ability to navigate the different languages and cultures. That the leader must also be able to think globally. Universal leadership attributes. So here we have the positive and the negative side. So here in positive is we have trustworthy, foresighted, positive, builds confidence, intelligent, which win-to-win problem solver, administratively skilled, excellence, just plans ahead, dynamic, motivational, decisive, communicative, coordinator, honest, encouraging, motivator, dependable, effective bargainer, informed, and team builder. Here in the negative side, we have the loner, irritable, asocial, non-explicit, dictatorial, non-cooperative, and last, the egocentric. So, here is sa pagiging leader talaga is meron tayong positive and negative side. So, masasabi natin dito is meron tayong, for example, dito is meron tayong win-to-win problem solver and the motivational. So, isa yun sa katangian ng pagiging positive na leader. And sa negative side naman is meron tayong loner o kumbaga siya lang yung nagdidesisyon mag-isa ko palagi. Ganun. And irritable siya kapag maraming nagtatanong. um, and etc. So next is the dark side of leadership. The dark side of leadership is the destructive side of leadership, where a leader uses his or her influence or power for personal ends. So the dark side of leadership is defined as ongoing pattern of behavior exhibited by a leader that results in overall negative or organizational outcomes based on the interaction between the leader, follower, and the environment. So, what causes the dark side of leadership? So, the dark side of leadership comes when an overused skills becomes the detractor and begins to harm others and the organization. Also, the dark triad can progress on what's known as the dark triad, which includes everyday sadism, when leaders derive pleasure from causing suffering in the people they lead. So sa sinabi ko kanina is mayroon talaga siyang negative side. So which is ito yon, yung dark side niya ng pagiging leader. So parang in-overuse natin yung pagiging leader natin para makapagdikta, kumbaga dictator, kumbaga ng mga nasa organization or team natin, ganun. So which is hindi dapat, kaya parang i-use natin yung pagiging leader natin to lead in negative side of pagiging leader. So which is hindi dapat maging ganun. So pagiging leader is dapat is may responsibilidad ka na tayuan in every ways na masasabi natin. So, yun lamang po, sir. And